I may not recall the exact moment I came to that realization because it's just what your parents do when you're growing up in that family and setting. Watching our kids grow up and watch our kids grow up has been much more interesting. Born into royal duty, Prince Edward's Duke of Kent was never in the light of the throne, but constantly close to it. In his last days, Prince Edward revealed something no one had anticipated, a secret that linked the late Queen's private will to a covert message intended for Catherine. He is well known for his poise, duty, and unwavering service, and he has stood by three monarchs, King George VI, Queen Elizabeth II, and now King Charles III, the Princess of Wales. What message was it? Why did it have such good protection? Come along as we explore this tale, the Duke's deteriorating health and a cousinly pledge. The Duke of Kent's health has clearly deteriorated by the beginning of 2025. His once steady stride hands slowed at the age of 89, and his voice, while still sharp, frequently wavered with fatigue. Lady Helen Taylor, his daughter, paid him frequent visits, bringing him the most recent information from the palace along with tea. However, those closest to him sensed that he was getting ready for something. Prince Edward had long been a mainstay of the royal family. He has represented Queen Elizabeth II more than any other member of the family since the 1940s, faithfully attending Commonwealth celebrations, memory services, and state functions. He was a constant even while the monarchy changed, a reminder of what the royals were supposed to understand by royal duty. However, that was only the beginning of the significance of his presence. Beneath that poise and seeming attempts at help was a man who held some of the Queen's most private directives and secrets. Years before she died in 2022, it was quietly confided in him. It was a legacy of the late Queen's faith in the next generation, not a political or crown-related instruction. The degree of their intimacy would astonish you and make you deeply appreciate Prince Edward, as the Duke was one of Queen Elizabeth's most trusted individuals. In addition to helping the Queen maintain the monarchy, he had kept the handwritten edict she had drafted, sealed in an ivory envelope and stamped with the royal cipher, for years. Few were even aware of its existence. Neither the late Prince Philip nor the Queen's private secretary had mentioned it. We need to go back to the Duke of Kent's intimacy with the late Queen in order to appreciate the significance of what he disclosed. Prince Edward, her first cousin, was born in 1935. Their relationship went beyond familial ties. It was a bond based on mutual understanding, service, and the weighty burden of royal duty. Edward was raised in a royal environment as the son of Prince George, King George VI's younger brother. He turned into a fervent defender of the throne, rather than a marginal figure. He learned discipline from his time in the military. He gave his all to royal responsibilities after leaving the service, frequently going to engagements and trooping the colour. He gracefully represented the Queen to Queen Elizabeth. He was reliable support in addition to being family. Their intimacy grew as a result of their shared experiences and intimate discussions. She gave him the decree, explicitly noting that it was for Catherine during one of these conversations, when her health was also an issue. The purpose of this edict was to grant Catherine total authority, unlike any other spouse. For more than 83 years, Edward has been the Duke of Kent. After his father died in a plane crash in 1942, he acquired the title when he was 6 years old. Edward is active with more than 140 charitable organizations and has performed engagements on behalf of Elizabeth II. In addition to serving as the United Kingdom's special representative for international trade and investment until his retirement in 2001, he was president of the All England Lawn, Tennis and Croquet Club, and presented the trophies to the Wimbledon champion and runner-up. Since 1967, he has served as Grand Master of the United Grand Lodge of England, as well as joint president of the Scout Association, president of the Royal United Services Institute, and president of the Royal Institution of Great Britain. Since June 1976, Edward has served as the University of Surrey's Chancellor. War commemoration, technology, and the expansion of British industry are major themes in his charitable endeavours. One of the few who could address the Queen as Lilibet was him, without holding back. She depended on him in many ways during her reign, including to substitute at ceremonies, go to funerals overseas, and represent the monarchy when discretion was needed. He served as the royal household's hidden fulcrum in many respects. Those close to the family knew that the Duke frequently visited Windsor Castle in the Queen's later years, despite the fact that their intimate meetings were never recorded. She delivered him a sealed letter during one such visit in 2018. By that time, her health was starting to deteriorate, and she had grown more introspective. "Some things are best left between families," she said quietly, referring to Edward. Catherine would eventually comprehend why Edward never inquired about her meaning. He was not required to. Titles and rituals had little to do with the authority she wished to give Catherine. It has to do with influence, a chance to influence the destiny of the royal family. From the beginning, the Queen had admired Catherine. She backed William and Catherine's 2011 marriage because she thought Catherine could combine tradition and modernity, much as she had done in her previous position. It was evident from the Queen's Queen's cool yet thoughtful tone that this was more than just a straightforward request. But that was just the start of the promise that would last a lifetime. A promise fulfilled, and the shocking revelation. Even within the walls of the palace, the Duke of Kent's sorrow was evident when the Queen died in 22. His medals glittered in the grey London sky as he stood silently next to King Charles at the state funeral. Few saw the envelope he had in his jacket or his shaking hands. By 2025, he sensed time passing more slowly as his own health worsened. He was aware that he needed to keep his word. As a result of his lengthy service, the Duke of Kent's health began to deteriorate. He was yet steadfast and devoted. His immediate family were aware that he was breathing more heavily and moving more slowly. He therefore asked Catherine, the Princess of Wales, to sit with him one quiet evening in a rare display of vulnerability. For a man who was known for his strength, this was an uncommon show of vulnerability. People thought that this was a significant royal event that would live on in history. Catherine had quietly shown up. Her eyes were softer and more hesitant, but she had the same serene grace that had always been her hallmark, according to those in attendance. The Duke's stability and his loyalty to her grandmother-in-law had always been admirable to her. Princess Catherine wanted to learn more about the Queen's background, and Prince Edward had a connection to it. What was revealed by the sick Duke? To find out, stay with us. The Duke sought for her hand as she sat next to his bed. The Duke told tales about the late Queen, emphasizing her insight, counsel in trying times, and silent assistance. He disclosed more private information as well. His words held the weight of generations, but his voice was weak from illness. He finally discussed a secret letter that the Queen had given him prior to her death in 22. He was aware that the Queen had left you a trust rather than jewels or a title. On the bedside table, he pointed to a little oak box. The envelope was inside, its wax seal intact but a little yellowed with age. When Catherine saw the royal cipher, her breath caught. "This was for you," he muttered. Despite being brief and written in the Queen's exact handwriting, the letter's contents were startling and unexpected. It started with love rather than regal etiquette. In the letter, the late Queen Elizabeth praised Catherine's poise and ability to strike a balance between duty and warmth, qualities that the Queen herself had much admired during her 70-year reign. Then came the line that made all the difference. According to the order, Catherine would inherit the symbolic but potent right to issue royal warrants in her own name if the Queen passed away. It was a startling discovery. It has been more than a century since any Princess of Wales had done so. The Queen's belief that Catherine could lead the monarchy into a more contemporary and compassionate era was demonstrated by this little but significant act of confidence. However, that was not all. A tiny velvet pouch with a necklace inside that was slightly pink in the mild light was enclosed with the letter. With tears in his eyes, the Duke described how it came to be. You'll be shocked by what he disclosed. The legacy of the pink diamond. The jewelry had a history dating back over 8 decades. Dr. John Thorburn Williamson, a Canadian geologist, gave the young Princess Elizabeth a rare 23.6-carat pink diamond that was mined in Tanzania in 1947, the year she was to marry Prince Philip. The gemstone was so exquisite that even Cartier's master craftsman was hesitant to cut it, making it one of the purest of its kind. The Queen ordered a brooch shaped like a jonquil flower, which represents tenacity and commitment, made from that stone. She frequently wore it for photographs, weddings, and state visits. To remind herself of the jewel's significance, she had a little pendant made out of a portion of the diamond in her latter years, which she wore exclusively in private. The Duke clarified that she had requested that the pendant be turned into a necklace for Catherine prior to her death in order to serve as a reminder to her that, as the Queen said, beauty is found in duty rather than in show. Catherine felt the weight of the Queen's respect and confidence as the Duke put the necklace in her hands rather than a lamp. It was more than just a diamond. It was a recognition of her status within the royal family. It was an overwhelming moment for Catherine. Despite her reputation for composure, she was unable to conceal the emotion in her eyes. She had always received discreet mentoring from the late Queen, who provided kind counsel without interfering. Her capacity to remain calm in the face of chaos, her belief in her responsibilities, and her ability to remain still had taught Catherine a lot. Now she was surprised to see that the Queen had trusted her with something so personal. It was a transfer of moral weight rather than inheritance. Prince William instantly understood the significance as he stood quietly in the corner. His grandmother had recognized in Catherine the necessity for the survival of the monarchy. She had found her daughter-in-law to be incredibly compassionate, balanced, and strength. As he explained that the necklace represented duty, strength, and faith, the Duke's eyes welled up with tears. In keeping with her well-known honor and humility, Catherine accepted this with calm respect. Advice on maintaining the family's emotional well-being in the face of outside demands was also included in the decree. Princess Anne's remarks that the family must remain strong as individuals, as well as a royal unit, were in line with this. The edict prepared Catherine for a significant role, such as that of the Queen, by combining authority and caring. She was able to campaign for environmental issues, family support, and mental health, without the usual limitations. But that was just one aspect of it. According to royal observers, this reflected the Queen's path from post-war reconstruction to contemporary difficulties. The Queen thought Catherine might continue that resilient tradition. The Queen wished for this information to remain confidential, a secret legacy for later use. One statement in particular, family first, duty second, but both intertwined, jumped out as the Duke read her remarks. Elizabeth wanted Catherine to be motivated by the same idea that governed her reign. The Duke of Kent said one more message as he leant back, his breathing becoming shallower. The Queen thought you would be the heir apparent. Tell her you will. I will. Catherine nodded. And history appeared to collapse onto itself in that silent room, the monarchy's past and future coming together in a single commitment. Prince William was ecstatic and respectful of Catherine, but how would the other members of the royal family react to this shocking information? To find out, stay with us. King Charles was both moved and unsurprised when the Queen's order finally reached him. He had always appreciated Catherine's stability and her capacity to infuse royal life with warmth. His preconceived notion that Catherine's influence was not only important but also required was validated by the late Queen's choice. In 2025, Charles secretly gave her permission to start issuing royal warrants, becoming the first Princess of Wales to do so since Alexandra, Edward VIII's wife, more than a century earlier. The action was strategic as well as symbolic. In 2024, King Charles experienced health problems, and the Queen's words provided him with solace. He saw them as bolstering his idea of a contemporary efficient monarchy. He thought that by raising Catherine in this way, the monarchy would be better equipped to deal with both public scrutiny and personal difficulties. It wasn't just a token gesture when he gave Elizabeth the authority to issue royal warrants, a big responsibility. Her support had the power to affect entire industries and big financial transactions, giving her genuine influence over British industry and culture. The decree struck a chord with the larger family as well. Recalling previous conversations with their mother over modernizing the monarchy, Princess Anne, who is renowned for her strong work ethic, allegedly gave her approval upon hearing the news. Empowering Catherine seemed like a logical next step for her. Prince William, however, was entirely in favor of her new position. Catherine reminded Prince William of his grandmother's humanity, even though he had always appreciated her clarity of purpose. The late Queen had noticed a certain calm and poise in the lady her grandson had chosen to marry, which reflected her own. William saw the whole picture now that the Queen's final command had been carried out and the Duke of Kent had come clean. Catherine had not only been accepted by his grandmother, but she had also quietly anointed her. Their partnership developed behind the palace walls. Catherine's impact increased in little but significant ways. She participated in more strategic briefings, offered advice on royal patronages, and influenced the monarchy's public relations strategy. The Queen's idea that the Princess of Wales would act as a conscience and an anchor was beginning to take shape. William was aware that the monarchy's future depended on their capacity to remain human and grounded as he readied himself for the impending change. But this startling news did not only affect William. The effect was also felt by the Duke's family. Lady Helen Taylor, his daughter, said how happy her father was to keep this last pledge to the Queen, seeing it as an act of devotion to a queen he had dedicated his life to. The significance of the decision was understood even by younger members, such as Princess Beatrice and Eugenie. After the Queen's message was made public, and Catherine received the necklace, the Princess of Wales found herself in a crucial position for the future of the monarchy. The proclamation was intended for the royal family, and consequently the nation, but it went beyond that. There was so much more to it. Financial analysts later stated that the addition of Catherine's name might increase the UK economy by billions of pounds, with British firms acquiring the prestige of her endorsement, following the announcement of the edict. But money wasn't the only factor. Now Catherine could use her principles to influence business and culture. Her behavior would contribute to the royals' continued relevance and relatability. Actually, economics had little to do with the Queen's decree. It was about longevity, making sure the monarchy progressed past the inflexible structures of the past. When Princess Anne heard the news, all she could do was grin and say how much the late Queen would have liked the change. The ripple of acceptance extended to Zara, Eugenie, and Beatrice, the younger royals. They viewed Catherine as the lady selected to spearhead the family's subdued change, rather than as an outsider who had married in. Many were curious about Princess Catherine's reaction to this decree and what it meant for her.
The Continuity Decree. Despite its private nature, palace insiders quickly came to refer to the Queen's order as the Order of Continuity. It was neither proclaimed in council nor archived among royal archives. It was a personal guarantee from one powerful woman to another, something more holy. Its main point was straightforward. She emphasized the value of prioritizing family over duty, but continuing to entwine both. The notion was identified as the Queen's by those who knew her the best. From her first televised Christmas speech in 1957 until her last appearances in front of the Jubilee crowds in 2022, it had served as her compass during her reign. It was her method of preserving her family amidst generational shifts, disputes, and divorces. Those statements became a mission statement for Catherine. Every public appearance, foundation initiative, and private moment she spent helping her kids deal with the particular demands of royal law were all influenced by them. Princess Catherine was granted a new role by Queen Elizabeth that was more significant than most people realized. It involved more than merely processing paperwork and authorizing warrants. It altered the royals' operations and future planning. Princess Catherine was given a crucial advisory role, putting her at the center of important decisions, according to palace insiders. In addition to maintaining the family's closeness and well-being, she was also assisting in the development of the royal family's overarching plan. The charities that get royal assistance and the regulations governing public appearances may change as a result of Catherine's increasing recognition. She was now more than just a wife, she was a vital component of the palace's operation. This was a big shift from centuries of custom, when the king or other members of the royal family were the only ones with such authority. By giving Catherine this responsibility, William prepared her for his future as king and turned her from a supporter to a complete partner. However, that was not all. According to people close to King Charles, he believes Catherine is strong and capable. She has what it takes, as evidenced by her perseverance during the 2024 health issues, which is essential for the royal family in the rapidly evolving world of today. The flexibility of this position adds to its excitement. She can affect the monarchy as it needs to in the future, because there are no rigid regulations or restricted responsibilities. The Queen's vision is reflected in this strategy. To survive, the royals have to change. Former spouses frequently had strict duty-only roles, missing the ability to express oneself. Catherine has the chance to succeed in fields that are important to her, including her foundation's work on early childhood development. She also possesses emotional intelligence, which she uses to navigate public life and win over many supporters. This is comparable to how the Queen acted, emphasizing trustworthy responsibility and sincere affection. By giving Catherine more authority, the Queen showed that she trusted her to uphold this harmony between kindness and strength, while fusing old customs with contemporary principles. The proclamation marked a shift in the royal family's course and positioned Catherine, the Princess of Wales, as a future leader. Catherine was to assist younger royals in maintaining their public image, just like Queen Elizabeth. Her necklace, which links the past and the future of the monarchy, is adorned with rare pink diamonds, symbolizing her vital role. It demonstrated how Catherine developed from a bashful newcomer to an important player in royal life. When she would wear the necklace at a major event, indicating her collaboration with Prince William, many people were excited to watch. Catherine's emphasis on early childhood, mental health, and the environment is in line with the late Queen's idea of a contemporary monarchy. She also talked about how the monarchy is becoming more relevant in today's world by highlighting ethical brands through revisions to royal warrants. By striking a balance between tradition and innovation, the order permitted Catherine to assist William as his wife and equal partner. A few weeks after that private moment in Duke's room, stunning news reverberated through Kensington Palace's calm hallways. In his sleep, the Duke of Kent had died quietly. Lady Helen Taylor, his daughter, said that his last night was calm, as though he had concluded the one thing that was left undone. Britain experienced a muted wave of mourning upon hearing the news. Those who knew him best found solace in the knowledge that he had carried out the Queen's final personal directive prior to his passing. He had been a man of calm dignity, a link between the modern monarchy of Charles III and the wartime tenacity of George III. Catherine went to St. George's Chapel in Windsor for his private memorial, where the tiny diamond pendant she wore covertly under her cloak gave out delicate pink glints as sunlight filtered through the stained glass. Few saw it, but those who did were aware of its significance. Another element regarding the Queen's edict surfaced shortly after the Duke's death, which even the Duke may not have fully understood. A historian at Windsor found a 2019 entry in the late Queen's personal journal among her confidential letters. Once more, the pink diamond was mentioned, but this time, the Queen used metaphors to describe it. Catherine soon discovered that she was being questioned about her regal talent. But did it actually happen that way? You will be startled to learn the truth about her gift. Many were unaware that the necklace had been purposefully omitted from the crown jewels. She owned it personally, so she could give it to anybody she wanted without a record in Parliament. It was placed under personal effects rather than jewelry of state in her will. It was exclusively Catherine's because of that minor distinction. The public's interest was heightened by the discovery. The Queen's final symbolic move to secure the monarchy's emotional survival was dubbed the Elizabeth Order by the press. Catherine, however, did not want to show off the necklace. It stayed hidden and was only occasionally seen by family. Later that year, Catherine went beyond a mere formality when she started issuing royal warrants. She picked her endorsements well, promoting tiny British companies that prioritized mental health, sustainability, and women-owned enterprises. It was different from the previous system of royal favor, one that was frequently associated with longevity and prestige. Catherine's strategy demonstrated her contemporary awareness. She matched duty with conscience. Much has changed, but much has remained the same since the late Queen's wishes for the royal family were made public. Ceremonies are still held by the monarchy, but something fresh and different is beating at its core. A significant thread of history was braided tighter in the silent passing of a long-held secret, from a youthful Princess of Wales to a feeble, elderly duke. The heritage of their trust lives on in the modest elegance of a woman who bears both the crown and the conscience. Even if the Duke of Kent is no longer with us, and Queen Elizabeth is buried with her predecessors. Regarding Princess Catherine's new job, what are your thoughts? Did Queen Elizabeth make the right choice, in your opinion? Leave a comment below with your opinions. For more, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. Additionally, click the next video that appears on your screen. You'll like it.